Hey there, my name is Trevor, and today I'll be narrating the story of Laura Delgore, a woman who had a very interesting spiritual journey. Laura spent some time in heaven and had an amazing revelation. This story shocked many people due to the predictions told. Before getting started, make sure to leave a comment with your name and city for good luck. With that said, let's listen to Laura's story. Hi, my name is Laura Delgore, and I'm a spiritual empowerment coach, tarot reader, and YouTuber. I had a pretty normal childhood until I was about 5 or 6 years old, but I was very intuitive. All children are. They have imaginary friends, see things, and be aware of things. I was also very intuitive to energy. But things took a big turn when I was about 8 years old. I'm not sure if it was 7, 8, or 9, because my parents had split up, my father had left, and my mother had failed to cope, so she wasn't there much because she was dealing with her grief and depression. My mom and dad would still visit, but not very often. I was a very lonely, neglected child. I was a scared child and became friends with a very sick man who took advantage of my innocence and youth. He groomed me for almost a year, and at the end of that time I lost consciousness because of the weight of him on my little body. I lost consciousness, I was being mistreated and traumatized a lot, so I left my body. I remember being there, scared to death and fighting to breathe, and then all of a sudden I was floating above my body. The next thing I knew, I was sitting on a branch high in the sky in a tree. The event happened in the trees, under a tree. Now I was in the tree's branches, feeling at peace with everything. There was no longer any fear, panic, or pain in my body. I felt peaceful and calm. A man was sitting on the branch next to me. I trusted him right away because he was so nice and gentle. He looked bright and shiny, and I could see him clearly even though I didn't know who he was. "Look at me, don't worry about what's going on down there," he told me to calm down. "Pay attention to me." He started to talk to me while pointing out birds in the sky. "Look at that pretty bird up there," he said, holding my full attention. His love, kindness, and gentleness wrapped around me, and everything felt so incredibly beautiful. I don't remember how long I was there, but it was magical. It was so wonderful that I didn't want to leave. He slowly said, "It's time to go back down now," after some time. "I want you to know that you'll be okay when you do. It might not feel good. I'm your friend, and I'm here for you. You can always get in touch with me." "What's your name?" I asked after thanking him. "Hi, my name is Jesus," he said with a smile. "You can call me Jesus, but my real name is Yeshua. I will always be here for you." I was back in my body in the blink of an eye. Even though it wasn't fun, I moved on from that moment. Since then, I've spent a lot of time at my church looking for my friend Jesus to talk to. Soon, he started to show up at the foot of my bed, and we would talk at night. He taught me things about God, angels, light, and energy. Over the next 10 years, that friendship grew stronger, and I still have a close relationship with him today. As is common for people who have been abused, the next 10 years brought more problems during my teens. This can go on until the person who was abused heals. From the age of 17 to 21, I was in a bad relationship with someone who hurt me. As that rough time went on, I often turned to Spirit and the angels for help, and I became more aware of the energy around me. Around the age of 13, I found out that Jesus had given me the power to heal. He showed up at the foot of my bed while I was having stomach pain during my period and told me to put my hands on my stomach to help my own healing energy flow. Suddenly, my pain went away like a magic switch had been flipped. I began helping other people after that. Some of my school friends, especially those who had period pain, would see me doing this and ask, "What are you doing?" "I'm just taking away my pain," I'd say. They'd eagerly say, "Do me, do me." So I would put my hands on their bellies, which made them feel better. When someone had a headache or migraine, they would come to me. My friends used me as a party trick sometimes. When they asked, "How do you do that?" I would just say, "I don't know, I just can." Over time, I learned that my out-of-body experiences, my spirit and soul rising above the physical pain, were what made me able to connect with the spiritual world. This connection gave me a way to get to a deeper spiritual understanding. As I studied trauma and other experiences, I found a similar theme. People often dissociate as a way to protect themselves when they are going through severe trauma. This is called detachment by psychologists. It means taking your mind off of the pain you are feeling right now. A spiritual point of view says that it's the soul realizing that things are too much right now and deciding to take a break for a while. During my teens, this understanding kept growing, making me more aware of energy and health. I went to different churches to find out what I had felt during those times of separation. Surprisingly, I didn't fear death. In fact, I liked the thought of it during the terrible things I was going through. I was sure that the other side was peaceful and beautiful, full of wonderful people, and a love that had never been taken away. Even though life was tough and difficult, I kept building my spiritual muscle and looked forward to the road ahead. When I was 17, I reached out to Spirit and begged for help after going through yet another traumatic event. I was shocked when I clearly saw a beautiful Native American man standing in front of me. It was the first time I had felt Spirit in my body in such a clear way. We would have called him a Native American back then, but now he is known as an Indigenous First Nations person. He said his name was Running River and that he was my guide. He promised to help me. I learned from him about shamanism, grounding, and the healing power of Mother Earth. He told me to connect with the earth to get over my problems and find peace. Over the next 20 years, he was always a part of my life. I had just gotten out of a terrible relationship when I was 21 years old and had another close call with death. My whole body, mind, sexuality, and emotions had been abused for 15 years. Spiritual ties were the only thing in my life that made sense and made me feel safe. Even though life was hard, I felt safe in my connection with Spirit. But I wasn't able to handle things well. My sadness, anxiety, panic attacks, and low self-worth were too much for me to handle. When I finally broke down, I realized I could no longer live a life full of pain, fear, and constant flashbacks. I felt like I could not keep living this way. I knew that home meant love when I made the important choice to go home. I was ready to end this life. I took a huge amount of different pills, including Tylenol, Valium, tranquilizers, and sleeping pills. I also ate everything else I could find. It wasn't a plea for help. It was a firm decision to end the years of pain I had been going through. I accepted that life was over, thanked it for the experiences it had given me, and said goodbye as I got ready to rest in peace. I felt happy as I went to sleep because I knew I wouldn't have to go through that pain again. What happened next, though, was a surprise. Suddenly, my guides and angels were all around me. They gently lifted me up and took me to higher places. When I told them, "I'm going home," they told me, "No, you're not. It's not your time yet." It's hard for me to remember exactly what happened at that time, but I do remember being surrounded by the angelic realms and many spiritual beings, including angels and other beings, who were all working to fix me. They were determined to complete their mission. They didn't want me to die and were set on making sure I got better. I don't remember how long I stayed there, but I clearly remember fighting with them and telling them, "No, I don't want to go back. I won't go back there." "Yes, you must," was their calm but strong answer. "There is still a lot of work for you to do. You chose this path, you thought about it before this life. We did tell you that the beginning would be especially hard." I was confused, so I asked them to explain. "Your soul chose this journey, with all of its hardships and abuse," they said. "Due to your strong will and determination, you set out to do something that would normally take 3 lives. You wanted to do it all in one. We told you it would be too much, but here you are at age 21 trying to leave. It's not your time." They told me that they would fix me just enough so that I could go back to my life. They also gave me a glimmer of hope. "In the second half of your life, you will find great peace and be able to help many people. There will be a time when this pain stops. Would you please let us help you and work with us on this journey?" This is what I agreed to with them. "It's not your time to leave. You'll stay until you're 67, they told me to calm down. At 21, that age seemed so far away, like it was a long time ago. I agreed to their terms and thought, okay, I'll come back when I'm 67. At that very moment, I was surrounded by a bright white light, filled with deep peace and acceptance. I let go of all resistance. In 3 days, I woke up in my body just like that. I had been sleeping the whole time, and when I finally woke up, a friend was there. I still felt a little fuzzy, like I had just come out of a fog. When we look at the bigger picture, why have we all started to wake up in the last few decades? People have known about this event for a long time. According to predictions, the breaking open of the Golden Age will happen between 2012 and 2032. The Golden Age will fully begin after 2032. This Golden Age is about loving, understanding, being self-aware, caring, and being kind. Things are slowly getting more honest and open, but we're getting there. We've come a long way in 50 years, and we still want to go even further. Will the world be a utopia by 2032? It won't quite be that, but it will mark the start of this exciting new era, the Golden Age. After thousands of years of abuse, control, repression, and corruption, what we call the Golden Age was a big change. A small group of people have had a lot of power for thousands of years, often at the expense of the rest of the population. The Golden Age is supposed to bring fairness and equality, ending lies, dishonesty, and corruption. To make this change possible, light needs to be shined on the darkness. People may think the world is getting worse, but what's really happening is that things that were hidden from view are now coming to light. People from all over the world have started to restore their power over the past 50 years, speaking out against racism, homophobia, bigotry, and other bad behaviors. With the rise of the internet in the late 1990s, more people have had access to information and become more aware of problems that weren't known about before. Bringing these things into the light of truth and love makes us better able to face and deal with them. We find it hard to deal with problems when they are kept from view, but when they are brought to light, we can start to heal and make real changes. What's happening now and has been building for more than 100 years is a big confrontation. This isn't the start of the end of the world. It's just a look at the crooked people in power. They are being caught, held responsible, and replaced by people with good ideals and hearts. Many people my age and older have kept up the cycle of abuse and corruption, while younger people who are loving, open, and honest are taking the lead. This shift means that the energy of everything has gone up. Truth, light, and love are linked to higher vibes. Corruption and greed are linked to lower vibrations. We're getting close to 2024 and 2025, which means that the number of woke people who choose love and light is growing faster than the number of people who stick to darkness and narrow-mindedness. That line has been passed. Expect to hear more stories about politicians being removed from office, leaders being brought to justice, and different types of crime being exposed. This wave of openness is already happening and making the world a better place. Mother Earth is also going through a change at the same time. Climate change and taking care of the Earth are becoming more and more important to people around the world. It's getting clearer that we need to take care of the Earth and each other. The more truth, authenticity, and love we live in, the easier it is to take responsibility for what we do. But for people who are deeply involved in crime, accountability is starting to become a must. In the coming years, especially in 2024 and 2025, more changes will happen as hidden facts come to light, which could lead to a feeling of chaos. It's important to bring up what needs to be dealt with so that it can be fixed. If everything goes as planned, by 2030-2022, things should be better for everyone. The global financial crisis of 2007-2008 is a real-life example of this. It happened because lenders didn't follow any rules for years. Even though it caused a lot of pain, it also led to new rules that are meant to stop problems like this from happening again. We may still be having problems with the economy, but the defenses put in place have lessened the worst effects. This shows that change can lead to a more stable future. During this tough time, the corruption in our financial systems has become clear, which led to the creation of new rules meant to support fairness, honesty, and openness. It may look like these changes are causing chaos at first, but they are actually making things more fair and honest. AI is on the rise, which will make our skills even better at the same time as these changes. Additionally, reports say that we have seen a lot of action from what are usually called extraterrestrial beings. These advanced beings, who are often called beings of light, have been visiting and helping people for a long time, but those in power have often hidden their presence. In the next 6 to 8 years, there will likely be more sightings. This is because smartphones and the internet will be easier for more people to use, which will make it harder for officials to deny sightings. We should not be afraid of these visits. Instead, we should understand that these beings who come from faraway worlds and have amazing technology are not here to hurt us, but to help and protect us. If people got too close to destroying themselves, like by acting recklessly with nuclear weapons, they would step in to stop the disaster and protect our world. In the next 5 to 6 years, especially after some expected reports in early 2025 and a big increase around 2028-2029, we will see more and more signs of extraterrestrial activity, including landings that will make it hard to deny their existence. As we start to use advanced technologies from other worlds, dimensions, and galaxies, it's important to keep a positive attitude. Things are getting better. I may only have 20 to 25 years left on my journey, but I promise the next generation that the world will be a much better place by the time we get to 2040 or 2050. It's important to decide how we want to see these changes, as scary things that are happening or as the start of a golden age. Every one of us can help bring about this change, so let's stay rooted in love, truth, and hope as we move forward. I want to talk about some things I've learned about my spiritual team, which I call Eli. It is very important to know that you each have your own spiritual team. Here on Earth, we don't just show up as souls without a well-thought-out plan B. In comes your spiritual team. Each of you has a guardian angel, and those angels often have a couple of helper angels with them to help them do their divine work. The main job of your guardian angel is to help you whenever they can, always with love and without judgment. Think of your angel as a comforting person who is ready to hug you, hold your hand, or just say that everything will be okay. The law of free will, on the other hand, is very important here. If you want your guardian angel to help you, they will, but only if you ask them to. They can't help you if you don't want them to, because that would go against your free will. That's not just a silly thought, it's a basic truth. To get help from your guardian angel, you have to ask for it. Saying things like, "Thank you for being there," will show your appreciation. "Could you help me with this?" They really enjoy being a part of your life. So if you don't ask for their help, they might be sitting there doing nothing, feeling a little ignored, and hoping they could step in and help you. Don't forget that they are here and ready to help, but only if you ask them to. You have more than one spirit guide. Each one is like an angel and helps you along your trip. The main job of your angel is to love and support you no matter what, but your guide's job is a little different. They are here to point you in the right way and gently push you back on track when you get off track. See your guide as someone who shows you the way. "Hey, you're going the wrong way." Pay attention. Your guide might be a little more direct, like a teacher who might gently correct you when you stray off track. Let's take a step back and look at how everything works. Think about the time before you were born, when your soul chooses what it wants to do. After each life, there is a review where you think about what went well, what didn't, and what lessons you learned. You look back at your accomplishments and see where you might have harmed others or missed chances to grow. After this reflection, a new plan is made, which is like a contract describing the goals you want to reach in the next part of your life. So, the soul gets ready to live in a new body, ready to take on new tasks and have new experiences on this new journey. So, what do I really want to do with my life? My plan is based on getting rid of fate, both mine and my ancestors. On this trip, I have to experience any harm I may have caused in past lives to make up for it in this one. Forgiving others has been a big part of my life. It's pretty easy to forget about small grudges, but it's been really hard for me to let go of deeper hurts like the ones I've experienced. But I passed that test, which was important for the growth of my soul. One of the highest kinds of love is forgiveness, and my soul is always looking to grow in love, even if it comes in different forms along the way. When I made this life plan, I also picked my parents and the details of my birth. My main guide has been very helpful in making these choices and thinking about how to best help me grow. For example, it was part of my plan to be born to parents who would finally split up and not care for me. I did this on purpose so that I could have experiences that helped me become more independent, which is one of my main goals. When I was in my 40s, I often thought about why my parents loved me but couldn't give me the help I needed. It turns out that my path was meant to teach me to be independent, since I've had to do almost everything on my own with little help. There were times when I felt sad for myself and asked why it seemed unfair that I've never had any family support. It's always been just me. This did remind me, though, that my soul chose this road on purpose. In past lives, I've been happy with people who were there for me, so why am I learning that lesson again? Finding love, happiness, and success without that help is what's really hard. Letting go of any anger or bitterness toward my parents is the first step toward seeing if I can thrive without a safety net. It's easier to do with one. All of this is part of how I learn and grow. Your guides are very important to you on this journey because they help you stay on track with your life plan. Still, we have free will within this system. For example, when I was 21, I told them I wanted to stop my trip because I felt like I had had enough. But my guide strongly told me to think again. No, they said, if you give up now, you're not only changing your own path, you're also changing the lives of many people you were meant to help. Get it together and go back to your goal. That's basically what a guide does. They gently push you back on track when you get off track.